If your library is having a problem getting adult nonfiction to circulate, the problem might not be the books. The problem may be the marketing, but it's a fixable problem, and we're going to talk about it in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hi everyone, I'm Angela Hursh from superlibrarymarketing.com. Head on over to that website and look for the Library Marketing Show tab. You can ask a question for a future episode that I will research and talk about, or you can nominate your library or another library doing something that you think deserves recognition in library marketing. And we're going to begin, as always, with kudos for this episode, which is going to 50 plus different libraries. They have all been declared winners of the Core PR Exchange Committee Marketing Awards from the American Library Association. They have a committee of about 19 people who look at more than 100 entries this year and a variety of different categories: print, media, external, internal, annual reports, you name it, they look at it. They're all going to get recognition this coming Saturday at the American Library Association conference. Let's dive into today's topic, which is how to promote adult nonfiction. We've talked about how to promote the collection generally. I'm going to put a link up here to another video that you might want to watch after this one. But I had a viewer write in and say that they're having some issues promoting adult nonfiction. And I got to thinking about it, and I think maybe the issue is not the books, but it is our approach when we want to promote nonfiction books. We think about nonfiction books in terms of the subject, but our readers don't. They don't walk into the library going, I need something in the 900s. You know, they're walking in looking for an experience in the same way that they're looking for an experience with fiction books. The exception to that, of course, is somebody doing research. But I believe that this librarian that wrote in was talking about just getting nonfiction books in general to circulate. There are a lot of great nonfiction books out there, and I have a couple of tips to help you. So like we've been talking about all year long, I want you to stop talking about nonfiction books in terms of their subject, but instead look at their outcome. So for example, do you want to understand today's headlines? Here's a book for that. Do you want to change the way you think or get better at thanking people? Here's some books for that. Do you want true stories that are more incredible than fiction? Here are some nonfiction true crime books. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's really thinking about how people are looking for solutions in your library, and they're looking for experiences. And most of the time, folks who are checking out nonfiction books are also trying to feed some kind of personal interest. This is why I love cookbooks. I love to cook. I want to get better at it. And that way I want to experience all different kinds of cooking from what I was raised with. And so I tend to gravitate towards cookbooks, and especially good cookbook displays that talk about solving a problem. Like, do you want to learn how to bake a really great loaf of bread? Sign me up. And my next tip is kind of two tips in one. I want you to think about mixing nonfiction and fiction into your displays. So for example, if you have a couple of travel novels like we all have right now during summer reading, beach reads, you can also throw in a couple of nonfiction travel books about beaches in that display. Or if you have a display of thrillers, you can throw in a couple of true crime, that's hard to say, nonfiction titles with your thrillers. About marketing your nonfiction books like your fiction books and not thinking of them as a separate area subject-wise, but as an experience can really help. And I bet my viewers have lots of tips for this particular viewer. So if you have some tips and tricks for promoting your nonfiction books, why don't we get a conversation about it started down in the comments. And that's it for this episode of the Library Marketing Show. But my channel is full of other tips for library marketing. If you're interested in learning more, head to this next video and I'll meet you there.